I noticed when I was introducing Lisa in the last video that I took the topic to the show myself, my relationship with Lisa, not exactly focused on Lisa. And men can do that, right? Men can take over conversations and women can too. So there's a dynamic between men and women that are at the core. Excuse me. Are at the core of being human together. And so what I found with Lisa, because we started to engage in a weekly conversation and we didn't put any parameters on it, we didn't try to bring it into the world, we just talked. And I found that most of the time I was very interested in listening. Most of the time, Lisa had a lot to say that I enjoyed to hear and participated more from a observer point of view. That's very different from, let's say, taking the bull by the horns and putting forth all your stuff. And I can certainly do that with lots of enthusiasm. But it's this dance. When do you listen and when do you speak? When do you allow someone to bring forth their truth and not try to interrupt it or take over the conversation or do all of the conversational killers that we do that stop someone from expressing themselves? And so what I learned over the years by being in a situation where I didn't feel listened to much, I realized that the listening that you give somebody is probably your greatest gift to somebody. And if you're with someone who's conscious and aware and they know you're giving that gift, it's very different from talking to someone who's unconsciously just spewing out their information without any idea of who you are, what kind of presence you have, what is your wisdom, why are you there, what is the highest degree of value you could create in that moment together if you had enough insight and initiative and ability to create it, or are you just stuck in your mind, stuck in your little world? And so Lisa has had to deal with an incredible spectrum of insanity. And like all of us, we come up with our own defense mechanisms. We come up with our own patterns of interaction. And she has been studying this. She has been ruthless with herself. She has studied with great teachers. She has focused all of her attention to see, who am I in this world and how do I interact with it? And she has come to the point now of realizing her own wisdom and that she is now in a position of sharing it. And I am also in this same position where I've spent a lot of time trying to figure a few things out. And I think something happened. And now we're here coming together to bring the male and the female perspective to see how to begin to transform the educational systems on the planet. Because we really need to learn how to learn differently, and we need to bring the species into a positive, loving, peaceful future. And it's entirely possible, but we have to shift our narrative on how we think together. And so thank you for listening to this. We're very excited about bringing the show into the world. And I think you'll see that there's some rawness here that you might not find elsewhere.